Hello, my name is Eloy Riquelme PINEDA and I am the principal of a primary school called Sifon, which is located in Molina de Segura. It is a school with a high percentage of students with special needs. We have to include Ukrainian people in the Spanish educational system because of the war, and I have chosen 10 measures of progress from the order of the 4th of June of 2010 and from the decree 359/2009 of the 30th of October. The actors involved in these measures are management team, pupils, tutor, pedagogues, psychologists, hearing and language teacher, psychopedagogical teams, and interpreters. The first measure we are going to apply is prompting mainstreaming. The second measure will be a Spanish program for foreigners. The third one will be the assignation of the course based on their personal characteristics, such as the age or prior knowledge. The fourth one will be hospitality room with return to ordinary classes. The fifth one will be curricular adaptation for those students who need special needs. The sixth one will be repeating course if there is a discrepancy. The seventh one will be advising families. The eighth one is intercultural education. The ninth one will be regulatory standards, and the last measure is psychological support because of their situation before coming to Spain, that, as we all know, is the war that they are living in Ukraine. Talking about relationship with peers, we can use ordinary measures as living classmates to show them the school or interact with them, so that they will improve their progress. When talking about relationships beyond the classroom, students will also learn and will also progress out of the class due to the performance of many agents that will influence them, which creates this type of relationships. In teacher-student relationship, the teacher will be the person in charge of create a favorable environment in order to achieve the objectives of the curriculum and integrate pupils appropriately. Talking about relationship within the learning context, we have to know that depending on where the learning process takes place, pupils will learn and create their knowledge in different ways, creating also this type of connection. They will also manipulate and create new knowledge, so it is important to know their prior knowledge, because if not, the relationships within the learning won't be possible. The first principle of my coexistence program is related to equity and access principle, focusing on human and equity rights, achieving an adaptation and integrity of the person, without being judged by their place of origin or economic status, thus achieving a model that is tolerant and suitable for all people. The second principle is based on curriculum adaptations, for those students who need it, whether due to cultural or educational gaps or special needs. For doing this, first they will be psychologically evaluated by a professional team. The third principle will be a language implementation, with activities or resources that promote language learning. This program can be used by students who don't know the native language or people with language learning difficulties. Both human and material support will be offered to help them make progress in this area. The fourth principle is based on multicultural education, respecting other religious thoughts and practices, such as not forcing Muslim students to remove their burqa, creating in that way a multicultural space where all people can learn from each other, whether it be about culture or lifestyles. The last principle will be inclusive education. In order to prevention of discrimination on the basis of sexual status or identity, respecting for all persons will be established and discrimination will be not allowed in this school. To promote this education, projects and activities related to different types of discrimination, such as including religious or cultural discrimination and gender discrimination, will be carried out by all students in that school. As some experts say, such as Starkey in 2012, schools are complex organization and complexity theory has a number of interrelated constructs which can be explored through examining context, structure, catalysts for change and knowledge creation process within an organization or system. After knowing all of that, this is the reason why me, as a principal of this school, will apply these 5 principles as the basis of my term of office, trying to relate all the principles to take different levels of complexity that schools have, including integration of race, sexuality, promoting language learning, or adapting the curriculum to the needs of each person. With all of that, I'm trying to foster a coexistence, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important aspects in schools and in education nowadays. From my point of view, the most critical elements according to the diversity care plan in the case of a school with a high percentage of people with special needs related to disabilities are the following. First of all, according to the Article 11 of the Diversity Care Plan, students with special needs are those who need a specific educational support and attention because of disability or behavioral disorders during a period of time or during their whole life. The teacher, in this case, will be in charge of adjusting the educational response and modifying the curriculum to suit the student context, but always after a psychological evaluation done by a specialized team. On the other hand, if the needs are more severe, he or she will be attended to a special center. Secondly, according to the Article 18 of the Care Plan, which talks about schooling students with special needs, says that the management center is the one that can authorize the permanence of the pupil for one more year in kindergarten or primary education, provided that their social educational integration is favored. Schooling will be only carried out in special education centers, specialized open classroom, in ordinary centers or combined modality in their educational needs, cannot be met within the framework of the measures for attention to diversity in ordinary centers. Finally, accordance with the Article 28 of the Plan of Attention to Diversity, which talks about open classrooms, which are open and standardized responses for students with serious and permanent special education needs, they will provide human and material resources, and they will be only used when no ordinary measure can be used. I really believe that I deserve between an 8 or an 8.5, as I have been very interested in this subject due to the fact that this will be very useful in the future for us as teaching. So I put a lot of effort in completing all the tasks of the subject and looking for some extra information to understand the concepts in a different way than the given one. I became more interested in the subject with the time, as I realized that what I thought was unimportant was actually more important than I expected. The most crucial idea about school organization, in my opinion, are the different complexities that exist. I learned that schools are complex organizations, and this theory is important because it states that education is constantly evolving and developing. The importance of knowing the levels that exist within the school is useful in order to know how to transfer the knowledge learned at one level to another. The idea I explored and I couldn't imagine before is the relationship in a complex content. I knew that some of these relationships exist, but I didn't imagine that there were more. So I found it interesting to depend my research in articles related to this area apart from the documents that the teacher provided to us. The most crucial idea for me regarding attention to diversity is PTI. It is really important for teachers when they have to teach to someone with special needs. It offers you all the information necessary to adapt the curriculum and to create an appropriate educational response for the students, as they will adapt and integrate better into the mainstream group. After attending this course, I am more informed about what it means to have students with special needs, as well as more prepared to be able to give them an adequate education and know how to act in each case. Lastly, what I have learned doing this video is to know how to look for relate the content of the subject with official documents that we will use as professionals in the future. I also learned that technology facilitates teacher looking for something in the official documents, as you just have to search anything in the search bar and will lead you to the direct site.